Hello, my name is Francisco, and this is my YouTube channel. Before I forget, it's basically named after the fact that I love puns, and on top of that, my memory is not the best in the world. At least not my short-term memory. So this is a way to for me to sort of catalog my life, my dreams, my aspirations, my successes, my failures, my struggles, in a way that sort of helps me remember all this, but also to sort of help share with anybody, with you, with anybody who's listening. And what I hope to achieve with this is that to bring people, to bring friends on board, to sort of help share stories, maybe answer your questions, or to mention somebody's stories. Who knows? Just something. I just hope to be able to share humanity with you through this channel, but also, again, like I said, to sort of bring friends on board, to sort of just all of us sort of just share our own stories and struggles and whatever it is that we want to share at that moment. That in itself is a bit of a struggle for me, at least, and I'm sure it can be a struggle for you as well, or for some of you that maybe opening up. If you're shy, if you're introverted, I've come to learn that over the years I've become more of an introverted person. One of my struggles, talking about struggles, are a few anxieties. One, I don't like myself on camera. I don't necessarily, and two, I don't necessarily like just hearing my voice back via voicemails, recordings, or anything like that. And three, like I just said, I'm a pretty private person, so it's these videos, these entries, I guess, are not just my own way of overcoming my own struggles, but also just sort of show you, hey, I'm somebody, I'm not trying to sit here and be like, I got no struggles, I got no stress, nothing. It's like the opposite. You know what I mean? I'm just somebody. You know what I mean? I'm a person, a sea of millions of, billions of people. You know what I mean? But I know that so I understand I'm just one out of many stories. But I know also that I don't think many people want to hear just like, oh, here, let me just tell you the good things, and just paint life being so rosy. Life has its struggles. Life has its stress. But life does have its successes. Life has its way of telling us that things will be okay. And that is a mantra that I had to repeat to myself over and over and over again for the last few years, just because I myself had doubts that things were going to be okay. However, it's no matter. I tell that for myself. I repeat it to myself, and I'm repeating it also for anyone out there who is who is struggling right now, who is who may think things aren't going to be okay. Things might not work out the next day or the next minute or a week or a month, but just know deep down that things are going to work out okay, and the way that they're going to work out is the way that's supposed to, and it's fine. You know what I mean? I know it's oversimplifying. That statement oversimplifies that emotion, but sometimes, I don't know. I mean, it's just like sometimes it's that simplicity that sort of brings the calm. It's going to be okay. All right. So, if anybody else out there is struggling with that mentality, you're not the only one. So how am I getting over my own struggles on the daily? How am I sort of getting over my own anxieties of doing this video? Well, that, my friends, is where the twist sort of comes in the story. What I've been waving around my hands, because I tend to talk with my hands a lot, is some cannabis. Why cannabis? Well, a quick little summary right quick. I moved from Georgia to Oregon, and right now I am living my little RV as a bud tender, going on about 3 years now. That right there is the one sentence, maybe two, statement of the whole story right now. I'm going to go into a little further detail of that shortly. But why I'm bringing up cannabis is because the fact that to sort of like just confront a couple stigmas, but also just to sort of show people the real-time effects of it. For example, not everybody who smokes weed is a stoner. Yes, I can't speak for everybody. I can speak for myself. Yes, I smoke weed sometimes to get baked. There are days that I've just been stressed and I'm like, you know what, I just need to get baked. But then there are other days that it's just like, you know what, my body hurts. I feel anxious. Like recording this. Recording this video. I mean, I've already had I don't know how many takes because it's like my anxiety gets a little bit the best of me a little bit. How am I confronting that? This, my friends, this particular strain is called Mimosa. It's across the Clementine and Purple Punch. As you can see, I've already been hitting this a little bit, so you're sort of seeing those effects in real time. It is more of an uplifting kind of strain. It's good for depression and stress. Clementine itself is a nice citrusy kind of sativa, good head high, pretty emotionally uplifting for me. Purple Punch, more of a Netflix and chill kind of indica. A lot of other people tend to hit them with like a bag of bricks, but for me, it's just more of like a Netflix and chill kind of good body high. So combined together, like Captain Planet, they make a great strain called Mimosa. So as you can see, yes, I am getting baked, but this also does serve like a medicinal purpose. Like I said, it's helping me de-stress a little bit. It's helping me. It's helping uplift my spirits a little bit to sort of help get over the anxiety of opening up to you. And just seeing myself in front of a camera and hearing myself in my ears. So, there's all those anxieties that this strain is actually helping me out with. There are other people that weed in its various forms, from flower to edibles to tinctures to dabs, in all its different forms. There are countless people that I've come across that use cannabis not only to just enjoy on the rec side, but also due to a variety of mental and physical illnesses, and it's a little surreal to see how cannabis can affect these people in such a positive way. And for me as well, it's amazing for me to see how it affects me in a positive way. The good thing is, I'm a bit of a low tolerance kind of person, so it takes me. I mean, I've been chiefing on the same bowl for I don't know how long. That's always shows you my tolerance, But I don't need to smoke all day every day. I don't smoke all day every day. Like I said, the more like with accessibility to it, with gaining more knowledge with those I've worked with those I've been fortunate enough to surround myself with, and I've been able to use it more on the medicinal side. Yes, I'd still like to get baked, but a lot of times you're gonna see me, it helps me for a variety of different reasons, from daily sports injury, sort of ricketiness to anxieties to especially right now in the rainy season with Oregon, to helping me deal with a little bit of seasonal depression. It's more of an uplifting. I try to smoke a little bit more uplifting flower instead of going for, let's say, antidepressants or something. Cannabis, a little side note for you, cannabis is actually what got me off of my antidepressants. So there's another tidbit about myself there. So anywho, enough about that. As you can see, I sort of start rambling with this, but it's part of what you're seeing live in action. So gather around the campfire, children. Let's all start talking about now. Let me tell you the story of how I actually did get up to Oregon. Let me rewind. I gotta rewind the tape here, a little bit of life, and go back to 2017. I found myself in a job that I'd been in a media company for 13 years as an audio engineer. There's so much good I can say about the people I worked with the experiences I had, and the knowledge I was blessed enough to be able to get from folks who had years of being in the industry in one form or another. So you have my gratitude. So I appreciate you for all of that. I was there for this job, 13 years. At that point, I had done countless shows, spoken with heads of states, governors, mayors, presidents, protesters, activists, and by the end of it, I'd been entrusted in forming the musical catalog for one of their shows. And for that was an ultimate honor for me, because that show, that was one of my favorites among all of them that I've sort of done. It was one of my favorites, for a lot of different reasons. Production crew was great. The host was fantastic. Just good energy all around. And so yeah. Anywho, moving on. May 2017. The rug sort of got swept out from underneath me. What do I mean by that? You know, it's funny how life sort of works in its mysterious ways. Have you ever had those moments where, you're sitting there and you're like, you know what? I feel a change of life coming. I just don't know when, and I want to go do something else. Like you just don't know when it's coming, but you're like, it's coming at some point. It's sort of like that, like Game of Thrones, which I still haven't seen, but that winter is coming sort of kind of meme. Yeah, it's like I knew there was a change. A change was going to come. To quote Sam Cooke there. And May 2017, it came. I ended up losing my job, and that sort of changed life for me a little bit. Sort of sped up, maybe that mystery clock of when I was going to start changing my life. Whatever the case may be, there I had it. And I remember vividly, I took one day to grieve. The next day, sort of just like gather my shit, put my ducks in a row, and figure out my strategy. And from that point on, all the way up through September, even on the road, I was looking for jobs. And I applied from a variety of things, from other media industry companies to to McDonald's, to Walmart, Burger King's, across the line. Like I didn't care. Like I was like hiring, okay, and for whatever reason, I don't know. For whatever reason, I just didn't get the jobs, and that's fine. The only jobs the only opportunities I did have were too far down the line for me to sort of financially sustain myself and my partner at the time in Atlanta. And that's fine. Yeah, it is what it is. I ended up here, and that's the point. Everything ended up being okay. Now, let me get back to the point at hand. A slight little pause, though. Okay, so now, come September, I was at a crossroad. I could either take whatever little money I had left over and risk not being able to find a job and just burning it all through, or taking in buying an old RV and moving up and being a bud tender in Oregon. And lo and behold, that's where I find myself now. The funny thing is, this change of life was more of like a smoke a bowl at the end of the night kind of conversation. It was one of those, oh well, you're just sitting there talking to whoever you're with and just being like, hey, you know what? If I ever lose my job, I want to just go get an RV and go, be a bud tender in Oregon. And lo and behold, and it was life changing to say the least. But it was just one of those. It's been liberating, and it's like that's one of those. All these stories I'm sort of telling you are just things are just sort of the surface, and this is what I hope to share with you in the future, like go into further detail about all this stuff. I don't want to make my episodes too long, I'm trying to keep them around like 15-20 minutes, but those 15-20 minutes I want to take as an opportunity to sort of go further in depth in the future with, all these little stories I'm telling you. So, yeah, going back to that story, little side note there. Going back to the story, we ended up getting an old RV. We moved up here. We were fortunate enough to find a place in Salem. My ex had a friend here in town, and that was sort of our own, like our social anchor here. And yeah, we moved up here, stayed in Salem. We stayed in a community, an RV community that we were fortunate enough to be accepted in. Wonderful neighbors, made some good friends, and I stayed there for about a little over a year, I believe. And life has its ways. Things just didn't work out with my ex and I. It is what it is. And, yeah, but things, again, end up being okay, right? Things always end up being okay. Going back to that now, right now, I find myself my own little pride and joy. It is my little sanctuary on wheels. It's my little RV. It's smaller than the other one. I find myself alone because my dog unfortunately passed away a few years ago, and but it was his time. It was his time, and he made that abundantly clear, and I knew that. So it's like, one day I'm going to get another dog. Right now I'm not exactly sure if it's in my cards, but I do want another dog at some point in the future. But yeah, I find myself here in my own little RV, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into getting her to where she is. Um, for to getting me to where I am. I mean, between our breakup and finding this little blessing, I went from being homeless to sleeping, yes, being homeless to sleeping in my car to sleeping on friends' couches to to finally finding this place and working on it for like the last year and a half. And it has been an evolution. It's been a learning process. It's been a humbling process. And this in itself is a whole nother story I want to share with you. And just go into so much detail, like just talking about this little RV, like it makes me feel really, really giddy. It's like like now she moves, she fucking moves. Like yeah, like I can't wait to share with you more stories about this, because then I hope you get a better picture as to why I'm so giddy about about the fact that her engine moves and I can take her anywhere now. That has been part of the learning process throughout all of this, and it has had its moments. It's had its struggles, but it's also had successes. And the fact that I can turn on the engine and I can take her wherever I wish is one of the biggest successes I could have accomplished in the last year or so. So and it's just the simple things, but that is one of those things that I accomplished. I'm proud. I'm proud of myself. And I'm also proud of her, because she's rocking it. It's like all her systems work now. It's like she's fucking rocking it. So yeah, so this is my life. That was a little bit of my story. A little bit of a summary. Like a nice little over kind of just like over story to more details, to more to just more just to, I don't know, to just to more to more opportunities now to further explain to you, like, all these little chapters in my life, and for also, and again, like I said in the beginning, to sort of like maybe hope that others share theirs. You know what I mean? Or if people want to ask me a question or something, send me a Facebook message, or use the comment section down here. It's I want to hear your stories, and and also, and I want to share. I want to share stories about myself, and the funny thing is, with me, sometimes it's when it's so ironic that when you find yourself willing to want to open up, and you're like, oh man, but then what stories to sort of share? You know what I mean? You're like, you don't necessarily find your life to be that interesting or anything. So you're like, well, shit, what am I supposed to say? And so that's why I was like, I want to do like once or twice a week for right now, and and go from there. Just because then it sort of helps me, again, find the stories, share with you, but also, I also hope that you guys ask me questions. If you guys want to hear something about me, just shoot me, like I said, a message or something, and go from there. Like I said, I appreciate you guys listening to me. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. I hope you learned something about me, and yeah, till next time. Hope you guys are blessed.